If you want to scale your video business in 2024 and get clients to pay you more money, this video is for you. I'm going to share with you the 3 phases of paying clients. This is the below 5K phase, the 5 to 10K phase, and the 10K plus phase. How to navigate each phase and how to graduate each phase. Last month, my video business made over $80,000. Here are the receipts to prove it. And this should be over $100,000, but we had to send a couple invoices late. Happened. But anyway, let's jump right into it. If you want to scale your video business properly, there's a couple phases that you're most likely going to take, and I'm going to paint a picture for you of what those phases look like. Now, I can say this because these are phases that we actually went through for our business and phases that you will experience through your journey as a video business owner as well. So we'll start things off in phase 1 and move all the way through phase 3. Again, phase 1 is clients that are most likely paying you under 5K a month. Now, these are service delivery focused clients. We'll get into what that means a little bit more in just a minute. And then phase 2 is 5K to 10K a month clients. And this is where it's going to be important to ace service delivery and start crushing performance. Again, more on that shortly. And then phase 3, this is the phase where everyone kind of gets excited because work gets easier and usually more fun. But you have to go through phase 1 and phase 2 and stick it out in order to get here. And this is where it's important to crush service delivery, performance, and experience. Again, I'll touch on that after I get through phase 1 and 2. So let's go ahead and start things off at phase 1, where you're going to be working with clients under 5K a month. Now, this phase is important because this is where you should be going over the top to try and over deliver for your clients. A lot of people want to get comfortable in this phase, get a couple clients, and just kind of sit here, right? But this is actually just the bottom of the ladder from where you want to begin in order to get to phase 2, phase 3, and even past that. Obviously, for the sake of this video, we're just going to cover phases 1 through 3. But with phase 1, usually the types of clients that you're going to be working with here, probably like car dealerships, dojos, barbers, restaurants, smaller businesses like this. And the reason these businesses are in this phase, especially when it comes to organic content, is because the videos that you're creating for these businesses usually aren't very close to the money. It's not so much a nice to have, because in 2024, it's really important to just have, video content for your business in general, right? If you're any of these businesses that I just listed, having content is like having a digital billboard, right? If you put 2 businesses next to each other, one has a social media presence and one does not, more likely than not, people are going to choose the business that has that digital billboard or that social media presence, right? Now, it's really hard to tie a direct ROI to having social media because you can't really track it, because it's just very untrackable, right? If someone comes and looks at social media, they decide to come into the business and book an appointment because they saw something on social media, there's not really anything tying to the fact that they actually found it on social media, therefore, they chose to come into the business, unless they actually tell the business owner that, right? So when it comes to making video for these businesses, it's borderline necessity. If it were a couple years back, it probably wouldn't be a necessity. However, because it's 2024, because that's the way that, people are just looking for businesses and deciding if they want to do business with that business, it becomes somewhat of a necessity. But in that, it's not too close to the money. And when I mean close to the money, I mean that on paper, paying, say, your retainer as a video business owner directly attributes to more cash, right? If they're paying you 5, then they can just see on paper that, they're making 25 in return. And that usually doesn't happen in this phase, which is why it's going to be hard to go past, a 5K a month retainer in this phase in most cases, simply just because in this phase, you're going to be focused on working with businesses that are in that bucket and in that category. Now, it's really important to crush it in this phase, and it's really important to focus on getting results and learning how to get results in this phase, because that's what tees you up and sets you up for phase 2. And if you don't do that groundwork in phase 1, it's going to be much harder to get to phase 2, right? When I was in this phase, when myself and my business partner were in this phase, we were focused on giving our clients the best possible experience, right? We had clients at 2K a month, 3K a month, 4K a month, and we had a couple just borderline on the 5K a month mark. And the way that we were able to break into the 5 to 10K a month mark is we got really good results, and we learned how to reliably get those results when we are in phase 1. So you end up kind of getting underpaid for the value that you're bringing to the table, but then you're able to use the clients from phase 1 to sign clients in phase 2. Because when you move over here to the clients in phase 2, they're usually not going to want to work with you unless they see that you have some sort of result or you can guarantee some sort of result, right? They want to see that you have past history. They want to see that you're able to do what you're saying you can do, right? Which is why I labeled this as the service delivery plus performance department, right? Because yes, it's important to hit the deadlines with the videos and the content that you're creating for them, but it's also important that that content performs, because if that content doesn't perform, then on paper, this doesn't make sense. So what does phase 2 look like as far as businesses? Well, if you're going to go charge a 5 to 10K a month retainer, then you're realistically going to need to be working with businesses doing 50 to 100K a month plus. And because you are targeting businesses where you're going to be delivering a service plus performing in that service, it now makes sense on paper for the business to work with you. And this is super important because they should be able to put $1 in and get $2, $3, $4, $5 out of the service that you provide. And they should be able to relatively easily track this, right? So if you think about a brand that you're helping their Instagram grow, right? It's one, important to choose a brand that you know you can help grow. And then two, when you're making videos, it should be very apparent that the work that you're putting in is generating that business more revenue, right? And important to realize as you're scaling your video business in 2024, businesses love to pay you money if you can make them money. So your goal as a videographer, as a filmmaker, is making businesses more money. And the better that you can track money to the services that you're providing, the more that those businesses are going to be willing to pay, because on paper, it will make sense, right? And if you think about it from a business standpoint, it needs to make sense on paper for them to be able to pay a lot for it. Again, over here, it kind of makes sense on paper. So, they can, within reason, pay a couple $1,000s a month to have that digital billboard. Here, where you're getting closer to the money and you're starting to make them more sales, and your services are responsible for bringing in a certain amount of revenue for the business, well, now it's going to be important for you to service deliver and perform, because if you don't do both of those things, then the business simply just isn't going to pay you a 5 to 10K a month retainer, for your work. So it's very important that your work generates them an ROI, which is why in phase 1, you have to focus so much on getting a result, because those are the results that you're going to use to sign clients in phase 2. Now, heading over to phase 3, which is where you're going to be making over 10K plus per month from your clients. This is where it's super important to ace service delivery, performance delivery, and experience delivery, right? If you think about a nice restaurant versus, say like a McDonald's, right? You could go get a burger and fries at McDonald's, or you could go to a really nice restaurant and you could get burgers and fries. Why is it more expensive at the nice restaurant? Well, McDonald's is just handing you the burger and fries out the drive-thru window. And the nice restaurant, you're sitting down, a waiter or waitress is bringing it to you, they're checking in on you, they're making sure that your water's topped off, they're making sure that you're having a good night, a good experience, etc., right? So when you start delivering an experience, you can start to charge more for this, right? Your client should enjoy working with you. They feel like an actor on a movie set. You're just making the overall experience extremely enjoyable and very fun, while also crushing performance and crushing deadlines for service delivery on top of this. So what this really looks like for us is a lot of the clients that we have right now, I travel to all of them in person. Even still at this point, it's not something that I outsource. I go shoot with them, I hang out with them, whether this is smoking a cigar, going to dinner, going skiing, going golfing, whatever this looks like. I enjoy time with my clients. I don't take the entire time to shoot. It's not just strictly business. I'm friends with my clients. Again, I just enjoy hanging out and being around them. So this is the experience delivery part of phase 3. Now, obviously, outside of experience delivery in phase 3, performance delivery and service delivery are also extremely important. These clients are paying you over $10,000 a month. You have to be able to get them results. It has to make sense on paper. With one of our clients last month, they paid us $15,000, and it made sense on paper because they could directly attribute over $90,000 in revenue to the videos that we created for them, right? So on paper, they made 6 times as much as our service cost. So it's a no no-brainer to continue working with us because they're putting $1 in and they're getting 6 out. So if we look at the whole phase system as a whole, the whole reason that you're gonna, essentially scale in this way, phase 1, phase 2, phase 3, is because you're using each stage as a way to go get results for the current people you're working with. And this is why it's really important to be selective about the people you work with. Obviously, in the beginning, you're kind of just fighting for anything that you can get. And, that's fine, right? Go fight for anything that you can get. Go work with any business that will pay you, because that's where you're going to learn which businesses you can get results for and which ones you can't. Because realistically, you're not going to be able to get results for every business. At this point, we realize which businesses we can get results for and which ones we can't. So we stay away from the ones we can't and we work with the ones that we can. Now, this is going to be different for everyone because your skill sets are going to vary. The people that you enjoy talking to and being around are going to be different than the people that I enjoy talking to and being around. But the way that you're going to be able to learn this and scale effectively is if you go work with a bunch of different people in phase 1 and you figure out what that looks like and you double down on those people in phase 2, and then you again go through this filtering process. Okay, which ones are the ones that I can really service deliver for and perform for? And then you triple down on those ones over in phase 3. And the last thing that I want to add here is that phase 1 is kind of the toughest phase. This is where myself and my business partner, we scaled up too quickly in phase 1. We tried to go too large in phase 1. We thought we were going to hit $100,000 per month in phase 1 by just signing a bunch of 5K retainers. And we got close. We got to 70K a month in the phase 1 phase, but it was a nightmare. We were up till 4 a.m. every single night, waking up at 9, like actually for 2 months straight. It was miserable. At this point, we're like, we don't even care about the money. We just want a portion of our lives back because this is brutal. And like the client work was crazy. We didn't have that experience. We didn't have that connection with our clients like we do in phase 3 where we're currently at. We just kind of knew our clients through a Slack connection or through, text messaging, right? So we didn't really have a deep relationship or a close relationship with our clients because they're also not paying us that much. So they don't care. They're also some of the toughest people to deal with, right? So it's really important that you don't rush phase 1. You don't try to scale up dramatically in phase 1 because, again, these are some of the toughest clients to work with, but it's really important to go get results in this phase and to learn so that you can move into phase 2. Phase 2, honestly, you could pretty comfortably scale this one up to 50, 70, 100K a month, but it's just not quite as easy as it is for phase 3. In this phase, your clients have a little bit more skin in the game. They are going to enjoy working with you more because you're actually performing for them as something that they can track. And in this phase, obviously with the retainers being a little bit larger, it is easier to scale. However, in my opinion, phase 3, where we're at currently, is the most enjoyable state of business that we have been in out of all these phases, simply because we're working with less clients that are paying us more. And like I said before, this involves going smoking cigars, going skiing, going golfing, just hanging out with our clients. And, these clients are higher net worth individuals, so they're just enjoyable to be around personally, in my opinion. So phase 3 is the ideal place to be in. I would say phase 4 is where you just scale up even more past this. Phase 3, what that looks like for us is we have some large retainer plus performance deals, and those performance deals are just essentially we get a piece of revenue from the videos that we're creating for our clients, where we can see that revenue is being generated and we can track it. As long as we can track it back to the videos that we're making, then we'll take a percentage of it. But that's really only a reality in phase 3, which is why I would recommend that you try to push for phase 3. I wouldn't say as fast as possible, but as efficiently as possible. And that's pretty much a wrap for the 3-phase system. If you're a videographer or filmmaker and you're struggling to get clients, or you haven't broken that 10K a month mark, there's a link in the description. It's a free resource that I put together. I want you to go check that out. It's going to show you how to land your first client, how to get to 10K a month as a videographer, as a filmmaker, and it's a great place to start. That being said, hope you enjoyed this video. Catch you in the next one.